Hi everybody, my name's Dave Whipple and you're watching Bushradical. This is going to be the last episode of this vintage axe restoration. I mean, this sucker was, well, you saw it, it was pretty bad. And it's still not great. I think what I'll do is I'll hang this axe, I'll sharpen the bit, and maybe we'll do a little bit of chopping with it. Let's grind this bit a little bit, eh? As you can see, I've been cleaning the scale out of the eye. Even after cleaning this thing a half a dozen times, there's still piles of junk coming out of it. It's just pretty rough. That eye's so thin. Here's the old handle we're going to use. Now this is a handle that I actually pulled off of another axe. So what's more fitting than to take a used and abused axe head and put it on a used handle? That's two things coming back from the land of neglect and abandonment. We'll put both of them back into use. I usually like to do this outside because it makes such a mess on the floor. I think that's about as good as this one's going to get. There's actually a lot of material there that could come off of there. Once it's hung, then maybe it'll just be my time filler project where I'll grind a little here or there. Let's hang this dude. You know, that's actually not a bad fit as it is. I'm just gonna drive it in. Drive it in. Put a wedge in it. And this handle was off a jersey. So you can see it's not exactly perfect, but you know what? Who cares? Boy, look at that. That sucker looks primitive. Wow. It's actually got a nice hang. Kind of tips down forward in the front. Let's see how it's hung. It's actually even hung good. Let's throw a wedge in this sucker. Now here's the dilemma with an old tool like this. I gotta wedge the head because it has to stay on the handle. Pretty important when you're talking about an axe. But it's a very old axe. It's gonna be a very thin eye. I'm gonna have to be delicate because I could break this thing. But I gotta know it's strong enough to use, or what's the point of going through all this? Just to hang on the wall? So all we can do is stuff it in there and pound on it. See what happens. And when it comes to driving wedges, my favorite thing to use to drive wedges, two favorite things. I like a wooden mallet. I also like another axe. Hopefully this wedge is thin enough to get started. Yeah. The reason I like another axe is because it's a big flat hammer. It mates up perfect with a wedge. And around here, there's always another axe. Pretty handy. Well, it's wedged and it didn't split. Let's go clean this thing up a little. Check this out. You know, there's just an emotional connection with something that's used and neglected and that you bring back. This was a handle that was off another axe, and I took it off and put a better handle on. So this handle's just kind of sitting back off on the side. It's not doing anything. It's not doing any good for anybody. It's just kind of forgotten, neglected. And this old head sat in the ground for maybe 100 years, who knows? But a long, long, long time. And there's just something about taking something like that and putting time into it. Kind of reminds me of like an old friendly dog just sitting over by himself, waiting for somebody to come be his buddy. You're just drawn to that, man. You want to take something old and forgotten and put some attention into it. You know, you think about a tool like this, the fact that it was in the ground, it's not broken. Even in the condition I got it in. You have to come to the conclusion that somebody probably lost this. You think about taking something that was lost once and putting the time and effort into it and being found, and somebody caring enough about it to hang on to it, and then somebody else caring enough to put a little bit of time into it. We're gonna do a little chopping with it. And this is probably the first time this axe has chopped anything in almost 100 years. So not only does it feel really awesome to bring an old tool back that's been lost to the world and forgotten, but you know what? It even chops good. It does what it was meant to do well. That's all any of us can hope for. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for checking out this whole restoration series on this particular axe head, bringing an old tool back from the beyond. Just makes you feel good. My name's Dave Whipple, and you've been watching Bushradical. Be radical, eh? See you soon.